So 7 of 9 has been released since we last chatted. You can purchase her in the store. I will tell you this in case you guys didn't hear this fun fact already. There's a couple of fun facts I've learned in the last 2 or 3 days, and one or two more that I'm going to learn here in a few minutes. But fun fact number one, let's go look at Seven's ability tree. So somewhere in here in one of her trees, I think it's this fabricator one. Antimatter, Gem Hadar, is it this one? That's max cargo for the Stella. Ah, it's this one. Entangled wires increases the amount of quantum communicators awarded on a daily basis. Fun fact number one. When you level up this ability, and it changes the amount of quantum communicators you get by one, increases it by one per level, it resets your daily pull each time. So if you're getting 20 a day and you put, a few skill points into this, it will reset your daily refresh. So now you can claim your 21. And then you go back here and you put your next skill point in and it will reset your daily refresh. So now you can claim 22. And so on and so on. So if you do get this ability, don't just start leveling it up, dumping skill points into it. Stop in between each one, and then you can go right ahead and pick up a big chunk of quantum communicators all at once, which might actually help you tier up the building once or twice, especially if you're free to play, you don't have 7 of 9, but, because you have to buy her. But if you didn't spend any money on the mess hall, this could be an opportunity for you to pick up an extra level or two to kind of speed things along. That is a helpful fun fact. I know, I found it very, very enlightening. It makes sense once you say it out loud. It's like, oh, of course, that's how that works, right? That's how all those silly things work. So, Ace, you're going to wait to put Ops 43 in the oven until next weekend. Wharf might be more valuable for me since more PvP hungry people on your server use interceptors. Makes sense. More people have pylums. D4 is kind of thought of as a more PvP-oriented ship. Defiant, people like to use for PvP sometimes. Talios, people like to use for, mostly OPC hunting. But even if you get it leveled up a bit, it could also be a viable PvP ship. So, alright, that makes sense. The auctions so far are not off to a very big start on either of my servers. Not too bad, but, case in point, this Riker auction. I'm currently in 23rd place. The top guys here, they did some upgrading, spent a few points here. But, I'm currently in 23rd place, which is going to be enough to get me 21 Riker shards, which is a pretty big chunk of shards, considering they're paying out all the way down to the top 100. And all I've done, basically, I set one armada and I've upgraded one building. It's only 40,000 points. And that's good enough to get me, the one armada was good enough to get me into this 26 to 50 bracket, and then upgrading one building moved me up another bracket here. I know it's only, 7 or 8 hours in, but not hearing a lot of people talking very optimistically about either of these two officers. So these could be some very low value auctions. Some good ways to pick up some officer shards fairly cheaply without, breaking the bank. Now over here on my main account, I spent 3 million points because I did some ship upgrading. I didn't really do a lot of building upgrades and stuff yet. I was kind of holding off on some of those. But I'm in the top bracket here. These guys are all 59s and 60s. And they're not really they've done some upgrading, but they're not making like a lot of big moves, a lot of big waves. Some of these 59s and 60s down here, not really spending a lot of points on stuff. Which might also be a little telling about how valuable they see Riker, or how unvaluable they see Riker. Invaluable is different than unvaluable. So You're only jumping in because of stuff you wanted to do anyway. Yeah, that's kind of what it's at. I wanted to do a couple ship upgrades. I wanted to do a building or two upgrade, and I'm just spending stuff that I normally would just for progression, stuff I've been holding off on, because I don't want to just sit here and wait a month. We were talking about this the other night. That some people are like, "Oh, you know what? These officers suck. I'm just gonna not spend until next month and hope the officers are better." I mean, it's a strategy, and maybe you'll have a whole lot of stuff stockpiled, and you can place really well. But what if those officers aren't any better? What if it's like next month is like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna do more Ferengi, and you're like, oh god, not more mining. Or what if they're gonna revisit, Mud and his group and do like a Stella enhancement, and you're like, oh man, I didn't really need any more of these officers. So as long as we're doing some fun facts, here's fun fact number 2 that I learned today. So your Feesha, let's do it this way. Your Feesha, like many ships, has a warp lock, an ops lock to it. So you can get it to tier 4 without spending anything, just spending regular parts and things like that. But when you want to go from 4 to 5, you need this warp interlock. And that's level locked. A certain ops level, I forget exactly what it is, it might be 40, that you can't go above that without this point. So you'll be sort of capped there. The second lock is here at tier 9. You cannot go through tier 9 without getting this warp regulator, which happens when you hit ops 50. You're given this automatically. When you get this and you tier up your Feesha to tier 10, your refinery changes and your bonus that gives you ship parts also changes. If you have the Feesha Salvager skin, it no longer gives you G4 ship parts once you take your Feesha from tier 9 up to tier 10. And now it starts giving you 5-star parts. I had thought that it would give you both options. Do you want, like the Stella and stuff does, do you want to convert this into G4 stuff, or do you want to convert this into G5 stuff? Nope. It makes the choice for you. So if you're still working on some G4 stuff, which I am, and now have just lost yet another method of sourcing ship parts, don't. Don't tier it up to tier 10 until you're ready to move on. It's the short version. Hey, Retro J. Yeah, found this one out the hard way. Was not expecting that to change like that. Because if you go look in your faction, in your rogue faction, like you get some of these things here where you can convert. Like I might have to start converting this stuff into ship parts now. So essentially what it is when you scrap your Stella, you can convert stuff into materials, which gives you this bonus. And then when you get that bonus, you can convert the bonus notoriety into a particular type of ship parts. Now this has a weekly cooldown on it, so you can't just do it all at once. But the new assimilated Stella skin changes this. So it reduces the amount of Stella particles that you need for the research to begin with, helping you max out your M score faster. And then once you have it maxed out, you will now have the ability to convert your leftover Stella particles. Instead of just dumping them into 3-star resources, it will give you the options for 4-star and 5-star. So the assimilated Stella skin, which is currently available in the event store at the low price of 450,000 currency, suddenly became a little more interesting. G5 wants to kill you. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, indeed, it does. So that was fun fact number 2. Now the other thing that we're going to look at here in a second, so I'm just going to sort of kind of eyeball some of this stuff. Now these are all commons. Everything that I do refining at 51, these are all common materials. And I'm pretty sure I may have documented in things previously what my loot boxes and stuff look like. Let's do that one while I can. Just short of that one, this one I can do. I'm just going to take the one chest here. Oh, nice. Oh, little 5-star parts. Dang it. I got all excited. I saw interceptor parts. But yeah, these all moved up when I moved to 51. These all changed and became 5-star parts as well. Eventually, at some point in time, you'll start using these to convert to stellar particles, which then I could dump the stellar particles into those other things there, or I could keep scrapping stellas. I guess we'll see where I'm at in a few months when there's a lot more Xborg research to do. So I don't see that as really being something that's going to happen down the road, but we'll keep an eye out for stuff like that. But the reason I'm doing all this is because I'm very, very curious to know exactly what happens when I tier up from 51 to 52. My away team store at 51 does not have any of the G5 ships in it. It may be because my rep is a little low, but I feel like it's 80% is what you have to be. So at 1.5 million needed for the Corvus at Guardian, 80% of that would be 1.2 million. So I should be over that cap now. Because I'm only 51, it might not be showing it to me. Retro, you bought the skin because you thought it was the Stella. Okay. Didn't read what it was until after you... Oops. Maybe a happy accident. So, sounds like you will need to work on ships before you change ops levels. Yeah, before moving up past 50, when you move from 50 to 51, everything starts shifting to G5. So if you're still trying to work on G4 stuff, don't tier your Feesha past tier 9. Don't upgrade your ops beyond from 50 to 51. That way, a lot of your Bajoran boxes, your Feesha refits and things like that, those will all stay G4 materials. So that'll give you time to finish up those G4 ships and things before making that jump up to 51. Lloyd asks, I have a question. Would you hold on claiming Syndicate level 25 for an officer auction or just claim it? That is an excellent question. Let's go look at the calendar and see just exactly when the next officer recruit event is. So we've got a baby recruit event now. And there's another baby recruit there. There's a heroic recruit. Officer recruit SLB is on the 12th. That's Wednesday evening. If you are patient enough not to click that little blinking button for 4 more days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, yeah, about this time on Wednesday. So if you can hold off doing that for 96 hours, I mean, it might make sense depending on what your bracket is and what those events look like on your server to know whether or not it's worth it. So, I mean, 150 shards. If they convert into transporter patterns, that's about 22,000 points. But now I'm trying to remember, does Grush not convert to transporter patterns? I feel like I heard people, maybe I'm misremembering or have this mixed up, but I feel like he might not convert to transporter patterns if you have him maxed. Those extra shards, you just don't get them. Or maybe it's just the daily that turns off. Yeah, once you have shards, once he's maxed out, I know you stop getting the ones from the daily. But I don't remember if these bundles convert to transporter patterns or not. His dailies do not, but the bunch do. Hopefully that's the case. Yeah, I know you don't get the daily anymore because I don't get those. You have to get to 26 to start getting Mavery Retro. When you get to 26, this is where you start getting Mavery shards, right here in this box. You get 40 to start with, and then you get 1 until max shards claimed. See how it's noted there, too? 1 in daily box until the max number are claimed. So once you do that, you stop getting the daily. Once he's maxed as well, you'll stop getting the daily shards for him. I would think that they would convert to transporter patterns. These bundles here should. So that's 22,000 points. It's a nice little head start. And it's not like you can't continue to do your daily claim. You just don't hit the button over here. You can still hit this button over here. So yeah, if you can avoid clicking that for 4 days, what other benefits are there? Plus 80% damage, more hull health and shield, more rep from your faction dailies, and a frame. Well, the frame, I mean, you got to click that now and find out what that frame is, right? So, and then the other thing, which I don't think should change at all either, I don't think any of, I do want to just sort of eyeball real quick what's in here, just so if I need to refer back. There are currently no 5-star mats in my box here at 51. And I'm curious to know if that changes when I move up. And I don't think any of this stuff should change. I think these are still sort of capped because these are G4 chests. I don't think any of this stuff changes. But as you can see here, the best ships, because it kind of puts them all in order, it's only just the 50s that are there. And if I go to my Romulan ones down here, it's still just the Tribune. There are no Corvus blueprints available. Gotta get that frame, absolutely. Hey Richie, welcome on in. Good evening. Happy Saturday. Okay. This is gonna sting a little bit. Oh, let's use a couple of these first. 615 days. Oh, that's all? It's only 175,000 Latinum, right? And then a whole bunch of other speed ups. But I finished the event, so I get, 20,000 of that Latinum back. Hey. Actually, I didn't even finish that event. Alright, so let's go into our base. More Latinum, a whole bunch of speed ups. We like those. Alright, so now we moved up to 52. Now we're using G5 materials. Now we're using uncommons. And it's a whole lot of par steel. Jesus. That's definitely going to slow me down a little bit, for sure. And 167,000 on the ore. Alright, let's do that. And we'll get that building working. Alright, so let's see what changed now. My refinery should have changed as I moved up to 52, and it did. I do have the ability to get uncommons now. The box went from 50k to 60k for 2 chest pulls, which I'm okay with. So let's go ahead and do these. None of this stuff changed. Ship parts should have also Ship parts are still given commons. They all reset, so the amounts must have changed. But I'm still only getting common ship parts. The cost also changed. The cost went from 3,000 to 3,750. But only for the first box. It was 3,000 and like 9,000. None of that stuff changed. My territory boxes did not change. None of this other stuff should have. I don't think, nope, these guys didn't change. This shouldn't have changed. These are all linked to particular ships. These are all linked to ships. So none of this stuff changed. Okay. Am I the first streamer to go to 53? I don't know where DJ's at. I haven't. I'm only 52. And I don't know where Noah Shal is at either. I know he's in the 50s, I think, as well. Right, so none of this stuff should have changed, because this is all faction based. All faction based. The only thing that would have changed would have been the Bajoran store. And my Bajoran store, this changed. This amount changed. So it went from like 153 to 155, and the cost went from about 28,000 up to 35,000. So that's nice. I can spend like 7,000 more to get 4 more badges. Awesome. I love that return on investment. These boxes, though, the cost and things did not change, so that's good. They might move again when I go to 53. And none of this stuff changed. I leapfrog DJ. Excellent. So he's still at 51 then? I'm going to get there first, DJ. No one is in the 50s? Yeah, I forget exactly where he's at. All right. Recruit bundles. Nothing changed here. My resource pack did reset. I do get more materials now. This was only about 20 billion before. I think it's up to about 24 now, so that one's slightly higher. And I do have 5-star materials in here now as well. So yes, we're going to go ahead and claim that. It's going to throw my timers off, but I'm okay with that. I need the materials. These packs didn't change because these are still capped with that stuff at the 50s. Territory did not change. Consumables are still 4-star. Probably have to get my building upgraded higher for these to change. But this is the one that I was curious about. Tribune, Pilum, Valdor. Nope, that did not change. Interesting. The only thing I can think of is maybe I need a little bit more rep. I thought it was 80%. And I'm over 80%, but I'm not quite to 90%. That's interesting. You were told no G5 blueprints in away team. Oh, we did talk about that earlier, didn't we? That there aren't any G5 blueprints in the away team store. We talked about that last week. That's not what I wanted to check. I wanted to check the event store. Thank you, by the way, Straight Cash Homie, for that reminder. I knew I wanted to check for ship blueprints. I was just checking in the wrong spot. Because now I do have the rep, and now I can get Corvus blueprints out of here. They are 9,500 apiece, and I'm limited to 15. Now, away teams are capped because they didn't upgrade that stuff yet. You know, when G6 comes out later this year, as it's expected to, G5 might get updated and put into the away team store. because it will no longer be the top tier object. But my event store did change, so I do have the ability now, if I wanted to get 15 blueprints max toward a Corvus. But that'll save me a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure these are 3,000 a piece, so 15 would save me 45,000 faction credits. Could be a little helpful, but I'm still going to be really far away. So either means I'm using multiphasics again. That's the other thing I kind of forgot to stop and check at. Or my multiphasics to see how these guys changed. None of this didn't change at all. I think that's still about the same, 1,800 credits per pack. Yeah, that's still the same as what it was when I was 51. So these didn't change either. Because I was getting 1,800 per pull, which is how I got my Tribune blueprints, because those were 1,600 a piece. So I was like, every one of these gets me a blueprint. And that's why I moved up, because it was only getting me like 800 at ops level 50. That's why I moved from 50 to 51, so I could get the doubling of the extra credits there.